Hello, everybody. And it's March 21st, the first day of spring, and it was actually beautiful here today in Oakland. And I'm really late to welcome you to chapter 10 of Onward, which is called Play and Create, which I hope you already know because I hope you're already deep into the chapter, the workbook, and to playing and creating. I have been feeling really guilty and aware that I'm feeling guilty about this video being made so late. But here's what happened. On March 1st, the morning of March 1st, I was about to create this video. And then my husband called from the doctor's office where he had gone because he thought he had the flu. He'd been really, really tired and went down just thinking maybe he's got the flu, and called to tell me that they had found some heart problems in his heart. His heart was having some problems. And so I went from thinking he had the flu into a place of big fear. They sent him for tests, and then there were more tests scheduled, and there was medication, and my husband is 52, and he's really generally healthy, but definitely has some health issues in his family that made this really scary. And it just, well, that day I could not then sit down and record this video because I was totally freaked out. And then the next few days went and the freak out got bigger and bigger and bigger. And he went in for tests and I went with him. And the short end of the long story is we're still trying to figure out what's going on. The medication is helping a bit, and it's like one of these peeling the onion. It could be this, it could be that. But what happened for me was for about 2 weeks, I was deep, deep into my fear world, all kinds of fear. And I haven't been that freaked out for many, many, many years. I can't even remember. But what made it actually worse was this book. It made it worse because I was like all of this internal pressure on myself to be resilient. And I felt like I wrote the fucking book here about resilience. Like, why am I a total puddle mess on the floor? Like, I had some really great text conversations with my two very best friends in the world, who I've known since I was 17, since I started college, and I could be totally like my unresilient self with them. But outside of them, I felt like for my husband and kid and team and friends, I had to kind of like continue to be the author of the book on resilience. And it was really hard, and I couldn't think about creating this video. Here's the point of this long story, which is, oh my God. So what I did, I picked up the damn book and I went back to the chapter on compassion and self-compassion. And then I went back to the chapter on emotions, and I went back to a number of other sections, to the Be Here Now section, to the storytelling section. And I continue to sit my butt down every morning on my meditation cushion. And I sat there with, I am so scared. I'm so scared. What if he dies? He can't die. He can't die. He can't die. What if he died? I went and I sat there with that. And it was such a relief because in the past, when I've been really, really freaked out, really scared, I've pushed it to the side. I haven't felt this scared in about 21 years since my mom was dying of cancer. And I did a lot of like muscle through that time and push it to the side and go on because that's what we do. We go on. And this time, like, I let myself sit in all those feelings and that fear, and I used Onward and I used the workbook, and I healthily disassociated from myself as the author. And I was like, you know what? I'll deal with that later. Right now, I'm going to use this resource because it's really useful. And I remembered that I wrote it because it was what I wished I had had. And it was so helpful. And it was amazing. On the 2 weeks after this whole thing started, I had an afternoon where I felt light and happy and clear. And it wasn't because we'd gotten all the right answers. It was because I'd been using these strategies. And I was like, oh, this stuff works. This works. So that's how March started for me. It was really bumpy, and it's not all answered yet. And I'm still sitting with the nerves and the anxiety and the unknown, but it's okay. And what's been interesting also has been how it's deepened my commitment to live in the present and to be with my husband. And like the fact that he hasn't done a dish or so, I mean, he's done dishes, he does dishes, but like when he leaves a dish, the kinds of things that usually like irritate me, they haven't bothered me. I recently heard about this app called We Croak. Like we die, we croak. And apparently something like 6 or 7 times a day, it'll send you a text message reminding you that you will die. And everyone you know will die. And I have not installed this app because I can't, that would be too much for me. I'm just not quite ready. But I get the idea, right? The reminder of impermanence, of not to take things and people for granted. And so I actually have to say that the last 3 weeks with my husband have been quite lovely. They've been very cuddly and sweet. And he hasn't irritated me with his lack of doing dishes. And again, he actually does a lot of dishes. In fact, he's upstairs cooking dinner right now. I'm really looking forward to this dinner he's making. He's an incredible partner, an incredible person, and an incredible artist. And there is a lot in chapter 10 that he has inspired in me. I have to say, I have to own that I have always felt like I've always been drawn to art and creativity. And my mother would tell stories of when I was really little and how I would draw and paint for hours and hours and hours. And when she asked me what did I want to be when I grew up, when I was 3 or 4, I would say I just want to be a drawer. I want to paint. And that part of my life, I think, has manifested in other ways. But my husband has helped me expand my understanding of creativity and play and art so much. And this chapter was so fun to write. It was fun. I enjoyed it in a different way than I enjoyed other chapters. I loved thinking about creative expression and creative expression in history. Somewhere in this book, there is this quote that I have on a little Post-it here because I love it so much. And it's somewhere in the book. I think it might be in this chapter, or maybe it's in the workbook. But I love it so much, and it's just been in front of me for days, which is, it's by Gregory Orr, 2 R's, O-R-R. And it says, if we're not supposed to dance, then why all this music? I just love that. Like, music, dancing, creativity, self-expression. On page 264, there are also some questions that I love that are so powerful, which are the healing salves questions by Angeles Arien, who said that in traditional cultures, she was an anthropologist. In traditional cultures, when somebody gets ill and they go to the healer, they're asked these 4 questions. When did you stop singing? When did you stop dancing? When did you stop telling your story? And when did you stop sitting in silence? . And sometimes I think if we just used those 4 questions to guide ourselves, to guide our day, to make decisions about what we do and with whom and how, we'd be so much healthier and happier and more resilient and more able to serve others. So these have been on my mind also because in 1 week from today, on March 27th, I am going to Nairobi, Kenya for a 12-day learning exchange that I am co-planning, co-facilitating with my dear friend Carol, who is a Kenyan educator. We've been planning for a year, and we are taking 19 women who are educators who currently work in the United States for a learning exchange in Kenya. And it's like a life dream of mine to be able to facilitate this kind of learning experience. Immersive, intensive, abroad. I'm so excited about it. And I'm so excited about it simultaneous to still being uncertain about what's happening with my husband. And I have to say that I'm actually, originally, when he got sick and was having these problems, I thought, am I going to have to cancel this trip? Am I not going to be able to go? Or am I going to go and be super anxious and nervous the whole time? And I've realized in the last couple of weeks that I am going to go and I'm not going to be anxious and nervous the whole time because it's not going to help. So I'm actually really relieved about that. The connection is we're going to be doing a lot of dancing and singing in Kenya as part of the program, and it's part of what the Kenyans want to share with us. And I've been like, oh, I'm going to look so absurd because my body doesn't move this way, and how's this going to work? And I get all self-conscious and uncomfortable. And at the same time, I've also been reflecting on how badly I need to dance and sing and experience music in that way. It's like a need, it's an ache. And I'm going to. And so even though it's not going to happen until next month, I'm still thinking about this whole play and create, and maybe I'm just a little bit behind now in my Onward workbook, but that's happening next month. And so next month's video, I will be sharing from Nairobi, Kenya. I will record it there. I will upload it, share it. Maybe I'll go live, although it'll be a weird time, but I will. So thank you for being here in the green light world with me for these minutes and for listening to my story about resilience and what happened with me this month. And I will see you soon for next month, which is about managing change and responding to change. I hope you are well. Thank you.